From the moment we can speak, we begin to use one of the most powerful words in any language. I want, I think, I am. It becomes the center of our lives, the anchor of our experience. But we never stop to ask, what is this I that I keep referring to? Is it the voice in my head, the body I inhabit, the collection of my past experiences, beliefs, and desires? We live our whole lives assuming this self is solid, continuous, and real. But if you truly begin to look, really look, the picture becomes far less clear. You may find that what you call the self is more like a ghost, something that feels ever present, yet disappears the moment you try to grasp it. It's not that the self doesn't exist. It's that we misunderstand what it actually is. To define the self is like trying to catch the wind in your hands. You might say you are your name, but your name is just a label. You might say you are your memories, but memories are fluid and unreliable. You might say you are your body, but your body changes constantly. Cells die, new ones form. Your appearance shifts over time. So which version of the body is the real you? Perhaps you believe you are your thoughts, but have you noticed how thoughts seem to arise without your control? You don't decide to think a thought. It simply appears uninvited and then vanishes. If you are the thinker, then why are you not in charge of what arises? Every time you try to pinpoint the self, it slips through your fingers, and yet something is aware. There is something watching all of this unfold. It has no name, no form, no preferences, but it is present. It is not the voice but the listener, not the movie but the screen. This awareness, silent, formless, and untouched by thought, may be closer to your true self than anything else you've ever identified with. The ego is the illusion's greatest trick. It whispers, "You are this." It offers you a personality, a story, a position in the world. It tells you where you've been, what you've done, and why you matter. It becomes a mask you wear so well, you forget it's not your face. The ego is built from language and memory, from repetition and reinforcement. It is strengthened every time someone says your name, every time you react to praise or criticism, every time you compare yourself to others. It is not inherently bad. In fact, it helps us function in society. But it becomes a prison when we mistake the mask for our essence. We build our identities like fortresses, decorating them with achievements, protecting them with opinions, defending them with pride. And yet, none of it is stable. The person you were 10 years ago may be a stranger to you now. So who are you today, and who will you be tomorrow? When we loosen the grip of ego, we don't lose ourselves. We begin to find what's beneath the performance, that quiet space where we don't need to be anyone or prove anything. Just presence, just being. What if the self isn't something we are, but something we do? A process, a movement, like a flame that exists only through constant combustion. The self exists through the continuous interaction of thoughts, sensations, memories, and perception. It's never static. It's a stream, not a statue. The ancient Buddhists had a term for this, anatta, the doctrine of no self. They weren't saying that we don't exist at all, but rather that the fixed, separate, unchanging I is an illusion. We are made of parts, just like a chariot is made of wheels, wood, and nails. Take away the parts, and where is the chariot? Take away our thoughts, our senses, our memories, our language, and where is the self? This is not just theory. You can experience it. Sit still, watch your thoughts, watch them rise and fall. Watch your emotions pass through you like clouds across the sky. You'll find there's no central figure controlling it all. The self is not the director of the movie. It's more like the film, an ever-changing display of images, characters, and narratives projected onto the screen of awareness. To realize the self as a process is not to lose yourself, it's to gain freedom from the illusion of permanence. Much of what we think of as me was never truly ours to begin with. Our beliefs, our values, our sense of right and wrong, all shaped by the time, place, and culture we were born into. From early childhood, we inherit scripts, what it means to be successful, how we should behave, who we are allowed to be. If you were born in a different part of the world, with a different language and different traditions, the story you tell about yourself would be entirely different. That alone should be enough to question how solid your identity really is. We are mirrors of our environment, reflections of those who raised us, taught us, loved us, or hurt us. We carry the echo of generations, and yet we rarely stop to question, which of these beliefs are truly mine? Which of these patterns serve me? Which can I let go of? To begin unraveling the illusion of self is to peel away the layers of cultural programming. It is to ask, beneath all of this, beneath the clothes, the name, the nationality, the job title, what is left? There, in the stillness, you may find something deeper than identity, something that doesn't come and go with circumstance, something real. There is a powerful moment that happens when you stop identifying with your thoughts and begin observing them. Like stepping out of a dream while still dreaming. You realize, I am not my thoughts. I am the one who sees them. This is the beginning of awakening. Thoughts continue to rise, but you are no longer swept away by them. Emotions pass through you, but you no longer cling to them as personal. A gap opens up between the noise and the awareness. In that gap, peace lives. The observer, or the witnessing consciousness, has no age, no gender, no story. It existed before your name, before your memories. It is the quiet space that remains even when everything else is in chaos. The ancient sages and mystics across cultures have pointed to this timeless awareness as our true nature. Not the actor on the stage, but the silent witness in the audience. To live from this space is to experience life with clarity, humility, and grace. You still feel, you still think, you still play the game of life. But you no longer believe the character is the whole of who you are. Every time we say the word I, we reinforce a kind of illusion. Language gives form to thoughts, but it also traps us in its structure. The moment we say, I feel sad, we begin to identify with that sadness. It becomes a part of our self-definition. But what if instead we said sadness is arising? Suddenly, we are not the sadness. We are the witness of it. Language tricks us into thinking that I is a fixed point, the doer, the thinker, the chooser. But this I is not found anywhere. You can't isolate it. You can't touch it. It's more like a placeholder, a convenient symbol for something far more fluid and mysterious. Philosopher Alan Watts once said that the self is a pattern, not a thing. When we speak in the first person, we give that pattern solidity, but in reality, it's always shifting, never static. To become aware of how language shapes our sense of self is to begin to loosen its grip. We can still use I, but we no longer mistake it for who we truly are. The I becomes more like a costume, one we wear lightly, playfully, without attachment. Relationships are often where the illusion of self is most challenged and most revealed. Other people act as mirrors, reflecting back aspects of ourselves we cannot see alone. Sometimes they show us our light, sometimes our shadows. In the presence of another, we might feel insecure, jealous, proud, needed, or abandoned. But these reactions are not caused by the other. They are openings, invitations to see the parts of ourselves that are hidden in the dark. This is why relationships can be such powerful spiritual teachers. They break the illusion that we are isolated egos moving through the world. They show us that our identity is not self-contained. It's relational, dynamic, co-created. Think of how you behave differently around different people. One version of you appears with your parents, another with your friends, another with a stranger. So which one is the real you? The answer might be none of them and all of them, because the self is not one thing. It is many masks worn by the same awareness, adapting and evolving in the flow of connection. One of the strongest arguments for the existence of a fixed self is memory. We look back on childhood photos and feel, that was me. We remember events, sensations and emotions and believe they link together to form one continuous identity. But memory is not a perfect record. It is reconstructed, reshaped, and even rewritten every time we recall it. In truth, we don't remember the past. We remember the last time we remembered it. Our sense of continuity is a kind of storytelling, a narrative. And like all stories, it edits, omits, and dramatizes. Neurologically, the self is stitched together through this illusion of memory. Without it, our identity begins to dissolve. And yet, beneath memory, beneath the ever-changing narrative, there is something that remains. A stillness, a presence, not personal, but universal. When we stop clinging to the story of who we think we are, we can begin to experience life more directly, more honestly, in each moment, without the need to be consistent with a fictional past. When the illusion of the self begins to fade, something unexpected happens. Life becomes lighter. The constant need to defend a persona, to protect an image, to uphold a story, it starts to dissolve. What replaces it is not emptiness, but space. Spaciousness of mind, of perception, of being. You begin to realize that you are not your name, not your memories, not even your thoughts. You are the witness of all of it. And in that witnessing, there is a kind of freedom, the kind that cannot be grasped or possessed. It can only be experienced. This is what many traditions point to when they speak of ego death. It's not the destruction of the self, but the dissolving of its illusion. And in that dissolution, what remains is presence, awareness, a quiet joy that doesn't depend on conditions. You still play the roles, you still say I, you still live your life. But now, you do it with a certain grace. You know it's a dance, not a prison. You know the self is a mask, not a master. And because of that, you can finally breathe. The journey to seeing through the illusion of the self is not about escaping life. It's about entering it more fully, not through the lens of me and mine, but through the openness of being. You are not what you think you are. You are not your story. You are something far more subtle, more vast, more real. And the beauty of it all is this. The self may be an illusion, but the experience of being alive, right here, right now, that is something profoundly true.